free world.
Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking to stay out the streets. Yeah. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so weak. Yeah. My hitters be moving and shaking to stay out the streets. Yeah. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the money mover. Snuff the hater, snuff the player, snuff the.
Hail to the culture, a Washington Redskins podcast. Welcome, people. Unfortunately, we're back once again after a loss, 0-3. But Bryce and Rome, we still here for the Realest Redskins podcast on the internet. Rome, what up, bro?
What's up, man?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. I wish we could be having a victory pod right now, but, you know, of course, the Redskins in typical Redskins on primetime fashion wet the bed, and we here to talk about a major L, man. Let's take it from the top, man. Case Keenum, probably one of the biggest talking points of the game outside of the coaching staff. 5 turnovers. We all know you cannot win when you give the other team the ball. Ron, what did you think? Let's start with Case's performance before we break down everything, just because those 5 turnovers just stand out like a sore thumb. What did you think about Case overall after that Bears game?
Man, Case was extremely disappointed in the Bears game. We all knew that this was him, but I didn't see an implosion of this level. 5 turnovers is crazy. This might have been Case Keenum's worst game of his NFL career. I'd have to go back and look, but this was pretty horrible. I mean, from the fumbles to the interceptions, Case Keenum was just bad from the start. But we have a lot to talk about when it comes to the quarterbacks because we'll get into it a little bit later. But I'm kind of seeing why Gruden said the competition was open between McCoy, Haskins, and Keenum. And Keenum just isn't it, man. I thought he'd be able to give us at least 3, 4, or 5 games this season. But honestly, after that Monday night performance, I am officially done with Case Keenum. I don't want to see him take another snap. I mean it, man. I mean it. I know it's funny, I know, but I'm done with Case Keenum, man. 5 turnovers in a game, man. That's trash, bro. Like, and then one of them to be a pick six. The first one, a pick six to Clinton Dix of all people. That Monday night game was just a flat out stinker, and Case Keenum was like the cherry on top of a poop cake. Like, like everything about it was just bad, man.
Yeah, no, man. That's a fact, bro. I don't think I could agree with you anymore. It was awful, man. Case Keenum. I mean, and the crazy thing about Case Keenum is like a lot of guys, you know, especially the local media guys, they've been riding Case. You know, they've been on his team. They've been team Case Keenum after his first 2 performances. But like I've kind of been hinting at the entire time. Those first 2 performances weren't all that impressive when you really break them down. He had a couple missed interceptions, guys just dropping passes that hit them in the hands. You know, he really should have 2. He really should have had 2 picks going into the Bears game, maybe 3. But, you know, he ended up with the stats he had going to the Bears game. So a lot of people might have thought he was playing better than he actually was, but there was still a lot to be left on the field. And outside of just the 5 turnovers, which is obviously, you know, that's huge. You're not going to win a game when you turn the ball over 5 times with your quarterback. But on top of that, man, when I went back and watched the film, I saw so many plays left on the field. I mean, as much as everyone knows how great our rookie wideout Terry McLaurin is, he was open multiple times and didn't get the ball. Paul Richardson was streaking down the field one time in particular, didn't get the ball. Jeremy Sprinkle, although he dropped his the first target they threw at him, he was open a few times during the game and didn't get the ball. It seemed like Case Keenum was really, really rattled at the, you know, thinking about the Chicago defense. But the crazy thing is, and people, you know, might not believe me when I say this, but if you go back and watch the film, you'll see what I'm saying. The Redskins' O-line held up decently early in the game. Early in the game, there was no need for Case Keenum to be so flustered. He was just scary for no reason because the line was actually holding up early. Now, you know, it started to wear on him, and Case started to make some boneheaded plays that kind of didn't help his O-line. But early in the game, the O-line held up, and it just seemed like Case didn't really want to get comfortable, never felt comfortable back there. And, you know, it resulted in horrible picks. Like you said, the one to Clinton Dix is just like, it's just a big ha-ha on the Redskins for that, you know. And then I think the most egregious, well, I don't know, man. He had 2 pretty egregious turnovers. The first one being the infamous Statue of Liberty, Rome. what were you thinking when you saw Case Keenum just holding the ball up like the Statue of Liberty play and Khalil Mack simply just tapped it right out of his hands?
I was thinking that Case Keenum can't play football. That's literally what I was thinking. The turnovers really, really killed me, man. That's why, if you guys have been longtime listeners, I was a big fan of Alex Smith for the simple fact that my man didn't turn the ball over. And if you look back at it, the Redskins' record since Alex Smith has been injured is 1-8 or something around the lines of that. It might even be a little bit worse. I know it's only been one win since Alex Smith has been down. But as much as people got on Alex Smith for not taking the chances or being loose with the ball, he very rarely turned it over, and that is what led to winning. 5 turnovers, there's so much blame to be placed around with the Redskins right now, or as far as the Bears game goes. We could talk about the coaching, which we'll get into, and we can talk about the defense, which we'll get into. But it definitely starts with the 5 turnovers from Case Keenum, because even if everything else was going the way it was supposed to, if Keenum turns the ball over 5 times, it's a loss, no matter what, even if the defense was playing well. So it's almost hard to even judge the defense, considering that Case Keenum kept giving the Bears the ball with 30, 40 yards to go. So the turnovers are just unacceptable.
Yeah. Nah, you're 100% right, man. So let me just go to the last egregious turnover. I've been trying to burn it out of my memory, but it seems to be locked in there. This guy, Case Keenum, 4th and 1. What does your man do? He tries to jump over the defensive line to get the first down and reach the ball out to get the first down. Like we're on the goal line. Man, bro, you know how I was sick when I saw this happen, because I literally, in my mind, I was walking through Case's thought process. I saw him first try to get the yards on the ground, and almost in his head he was like, I don't think I can get through this line. Let me jump. And then I saw him jump, and I said to myself, this guy's not going to stick the ball out, and he proceeds to stick the ball out. Danny Trevathan probably got the easiest forced fumble of his lifetime. Just a boneheaded play. Almost reminded me of the time that Kirk Cousins, he kneeled the ball instead of spiking it? It almost reminded me of something like that,
God.
Where you're just not really, you're playing the game, but you're not really in the game. And that bothers me. For example, if it's late in the game and the receiver catches the ball and he doesn't run out of bounds, you know that guy is playing the game, but he's not really in the game. He's not into the moments, into the situations. He's not understanding what his team needs. He's just playing the game. And in that time, Case was just playing the game. He wasn't in the game at all, and that is not what you want from your quarterback. And it really makes me wonder about his situational awareness, in all facets of the game. Where is his situational awareness? It cannot be that high after trying to jump over the offensive and defensive line for a first down on 4th and 1.
Yeah, man. So let's get into it, man. Are we gonna place the majority of the blame at the feet of Case Keenum, or do you think Jay Gruden, the play calling, what was really to blame? Are you gonna say it's Gruden, Keenum, or more on the defense? If you had to give a piece of the pie.
Yeah, see, that is a great question, and I think you made a really good point earlier, where you kind of said there's a ton of blame to go around. If I had to divvy it up, like a pie chart, Case Keenum is getting a big chunk of that pie. I didn't think Gruden's play calling was all that bad. Like I said, I saw open receivers everywhere when I went back and watched the film. Case just wasn't hitting them. The only thing I'd say that Gruden didn't do, which we can always expect this of him, but he didn't stick with the run, of course. But that's Gruden for you, and we almost know that going in now. So, but as far as the defense is concerned, which I think we have to get into, especially if we're talking about giving out blame, the goal line defense, it's no way crossing routes work 2 times on you. Okay, the first time, you just chalk that up to bad communication. All right, fellas, we didn't communicate right. We missed that one. Let's get it right the next time. But the next time, y'all just letting guys just run crossing routes right by your face, and it's almost as if nobody knows what they're doing. Are we in man? Are we in zone? It's like no one knows what they're doing. So honestly, Jay Gruden's the head coach, so he's overlooking the pie. He gets 100% of the blame no matter what. But if we're going Case Keenum defense, I got to go 50-50 when it comes to Case versus defense, because at the end of the day, The defense was atrocious, man. Early on, we were getting pressure. You know, shout out to Montez Sweat. He got his first sack. I think Matt Ioannidis got one in there too. I mean, we got some pressure early, and even at moments late. But the consistency, the communication, the playing as a unit, it's just not there. Like it's almost as if like all of our position coaches just like coach up their unit and they never talk. Like, do our position coaches talk? Do they know? Do they all like communicate so they're all on the same page? Because it seems like they're all telling their units something different. At least the way the play looks on the field.
All those points are excellent, and they lead me to one simple conclusion. And if you guys want to read the article that I had written about the many problems on specifically Washington's defense, it's up on the GAS website now. Yeah, all that leads me to the simple conclusion that Greg Minuski is not a good coach. And I have stats to back that up. So from 2014, he was a defensive coordinator, I believe it was in Indianapolis. From 2014 to right now, Greg Minuski has had one defense post in the top 15. It was ranked number 11. Every other defense that this man had has been 19th or worse. He has consistently coached defenses to the bottom of the league. So why is his job safe? Why is Gruden comfortable? I believe in the press conference after the game or on Monday, he said, or Tuesday, he said he's not going to make any coaching changes in season. And to me, that is mind-boggling when you look at the history of Greg Minuski and you look at the talent that is on this team right now, and then you listen to you break down how confused they look. Guys don't know if we're in zone, man, who's got who. That's a coaching issue. That is a coaching issue. There's no way that we have stars like Landon Collins, Ryan Kerrigan, John Allen, Payne. Kerrigan didn't register a stat in the Bears game. Did you know that? Not one tackle. No tackles, no sacks, nothing. You got Khalil Mack getting to Keenum every which way, lining up in different positions. Maybe a little more creativity would help this defense. Something's got to give, and I think it starts with Minuski. If I'm doing out a pie chart, I'm giving 45% of the blame to Case Keenum and the other 55% to the defense. And by the defense, I mean Greg Minuski, because he is what should be gelling this defense. His coaching should be getting these guys together. There shouldn't be communication issues still. We've been talking about communication issues on crossing routes since the Colts game week 2 last season. So that is like unbelievably mind-boggling to me, and it blows my mind. Like, I'm getting a headache right now thinking about Gruden saying that they're not going to make any coaching changes in season. I do not understand that at all. We've given up 30-plus points a game. Minuski's got to go, man. If we give up another 30-point game to either the Giants or the Dolphins, the Patriots will be the one asterisk. If we get blown out by the Patriots, it is what it is. But if the Giants put up 30 or the Dolphins put up 30, I don't care if we win the game or not. Minuski's got to go.
Man, I agree 100%, man. Minuski is trash. And your stats, your numbers back that up completely. Now, let me just give they're not necessarily numbers, but let me just throw a couple more things out there. Let me throw some names out there. Preston Smith. Dick. Need I go on? Bashard Breeland.
Stop.
These are guys that were trash in the Redskins defense. We all knew they had talent, don't get me wrong. But on the Redskins, you would have thought these guys were replacement-level players. Oh, what do? Bashard Breeland, guess what he's doing? He's a Pro Football Focus's top cornerback duo along with, guess who? Kendall Fuller. Oh, guess what else? You know what Preston Smith just did? Oh, Preston Smith, Defensive Player of the Week in the NFC after getting 3 sacks for the Green Bay Packers. Look, listen. I'm not just saying that it's just a Greg Minuski thing, because we have examples of this for years of guys leaving the Redskins to become irrelevant. But this is a problem, and this is a culture problem. And Greg Minuski has done nothing to change the culture of the defense, man. I mean, it's just so many things we can point to, and we're gonna talk about the culture a little later once we get to the keeping it real section, because we're gonna have to keep it real on the Skins today, because it's no more cut cards. It's time to dig into this team the way that they deserve, and these performances through 3 games have just been pitiful. So let's keep it moving, man, because like you said, I'm starting to get a headache too, bro. So let's move on to Dwayne Haskins. And Jay Gruden's press conferences this week after the game, he has seemed very, very content with keeping Case Keenum as the starting quarterback. And when asked about Haskins, he says, cliche terms like, well, when he's ready, he'll play, or, Dwayne's got to sit back and learn, or, Dwayne, it's all just, little catchphrases to basically let you know that he feels like Dwayne's not ready. But was Case Keenum ready after 5 turnovers? I'm not sure. Now, we have one more card thrown into the mix, and who is that? Well, that is Jay Gruden's prodigal son. We're talking about Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy is due back any day now, and now you know what Jay Gruden's going to do, man. This is just going to likely prolong Haskins, starting time as quarterback. It might not even happen this season, man. What are you thinking about Haskins? Do you think it's time that we should give the young guy a shot? I mean, we're 0-3. One thing I know is that Haskins wouldn't have turned the ball over 5 times last game.
Well, it's tough to say because I've been on the side of, be patient with Haskins, let him sit for a while, and I'm still fine with that. Watching Case Keenum on Monday night, a knee-jerk reaction that me and a lot of other people had was to just go ahead and put Haskins in. It was better off not putting Haskins in, throwing him to the Wolves or the Bears to say Khalil Mack was on one in that game, and you don't want to see Haskins getting harassed by Mack in his very first time playing in the NFL. And I said it earlier in the season, I'd rather see Haskins after we play the Patriots. Bill Belichick, I don't know if you guys have seen his interviews. This dude is an asshole. I mean, I love Bill Belichick. I love his coaching style, but I truly feel like he does not care about people sometimes. And when it comes to rookie quarterbacks and his defense and him being a genius, he likes to make example of things like that. So I don't want to see Dwayne until after the Patriots game. And honestly, I think that's perfect because after New England, we play Miami. So what better way after the New England game, let Dwayne get all the first-team reps going into the Miami game and then just let it go from there. That's always been my vision for the season. And as far as Dwayne goes, that hasn't changed. Really the only thing with the Redskins that makes it shaky with Dwayne starting at all or anything that happens this season is how bad the defense has been. I thought we'd be a lot more competitive. The defense needs to play better because I don't want Dwayne going out there feeling like he has to throw 5 touchdowns for us to win every game, if we're giving up 30 points every game. So that might factor into it a little bit if the D doesn't get better. But I personally am still content with Haskins sitting until after the Patriots game. Because, honestly, it's not going to get much worse than it is now. So.
Well, never say never. But one thing I'll say on the Haskins front is, everyone that's been listening knows I've been in the start Haskins from day one side. I wanted him to get the reins against Philly. So at the end of the day, that didn't happen. But now we are where we are. And there was a report this week that Jay Gruden is actually not even preparing Haskins to ever play, and is instead, relegating him to scout team duties as quarterback. Now, if that is the case, and Jay Gruden is not even getting Haskins ready, and he's not even developing Haskins, then Jay, why are you here? Why are you here at all? And I think it's all coming down to one major key. No matter what Jay Gruden says out of his mouth, Jay Gruden feels the seat getting warm. It's not even warm. The seat is scorching right now. And he feels that. And he probably feels that he doesn't have time to waste getting a young quarterback ready. But like many things, that'll likely come to bite Jay on the backside because just like with the AP stuff, when Geis went down, last year we had 3 quarterbacks go down, and you were down to Josh Johnson. So what if that happens and now Dwayne's thrusted in, and now you, as the coach who hasn't been getting him ready, has to, try to mold him in game? It's just not smart. And more reports that come out, the more and more I'm hopping all the way off the Jay Gruden bandwagon, which I was once one of the probably top proponents for keeping Jay around. But enough about Haskins, man. I'm sure his name will come back up as we keep going through the pod today. Let's jump into some studs and duds, man. It's pretty much like 50 for me. It's like 51 duds and like 2 studs. Maybe I could squeeze out a third, but let's jump right into it, man. Who are your studs from the game, Ron?
All right, my studs from this game is going to go out to everyone who's listening right now. Everyone who put on Redskin gear or is going to put on Redskin gear sometime this week, everyone who's still cheering, everyone who went to the game. If you're still supporting this team right now, you are my stud for this week. You are my player of the week. My game ball goes to you. My hat is off to you guys, the fans, because let's be honest, since Alex Smith went down about halfway through last season, there's been nothing to cheer about. There's been no reason to be happy about being a Redskin fan. There's been no reason to brag to your friends at work about this or that or say the Cowboys suck or Philly sucks. We can't even talk about the New York Giants right now. That's how bad Washington has been. So if you're still out here repping the team, you deserve a round of applause, and I'm going to give you that right now. Congratulations to all the real Redskin fans out there. It's hard, man. It's hard, man. It's hard being a Skins fan right now. They got to turn this thing around.
It is so hard being a Skins fan. I was actually talking to one of my buddies, man, the other day, and he has a son who's about 9, I think, maybe 9 or 10. And he was telling me that his son came to him and told me he wants to be a Seahawks fan. And he literally has raised his son as a Redskins fan. I'm talking about from the cradle, man. Redskins, everything. The little man had all the Skins jerseys, and the little man used to like the Skins. But he's just watching what's going on. He's probably like, I can't do this my whole life, like my dad's doing. So, I completely understand that sentiment. So all the fans are still, Redskins fans, still fighting, still bleeding burgundy and gold. Shout out to you. My studs for the game, man. I mean, you don't got to look hard for my first stud. He's been standing out in all 3 games, and now he's the first rookie receiver ever with 5 receptions and a touchdown in his first 3 games. None other than Scary Terry. Hey, Rome, we got a gym with Scary Terry, man. Like, this guy, I tweeted out during the game, Scary Terry has all-pro potential. I mean, he's on pace right now for almost 1,400 yards and 16 touchdowns. Now, will he reach those marks? Probably not. But if he gets anywhere close, you're looking at the best receiver that we've had in some years, and he's only a rookie. So that is definitely a bright spot. And for my last stud, I went with Montez Sweat, only because, I would pat myself on the back one time. I did predict he would get his first career sack, and the only reason I really thought he would get his first career sack was because of Mitchell Trubisky's, I guess we can say, athleticism and his ability to escape the pocket. I thought that Montez Sweat's speed would come in handy there, which it did. So shout out to Montez Sweat for getting his first sack. But Montez, we're going to need way more, bro. 1 sack ain't going to do it. I need 2. I need 3. So let's try to get 2 next game against Daniel Jones, which I will predict right now. Montez Sweat will have 2 sacks in the next game. So now let's move into these duds, man. Rome, who you got for your duds, bro?
My duds is going to be the opposite of what I did for the studs, and I'm going to call out the front office and the coaching staff. The same way I applauded the fans that are sticking around for sticking around, you guys, Bruce Allen, Dan Snyder, Jay Gruden, you guys got to give us something to cheer for. I don't mean just throwing Haskins in there so that we can be happy for a couple days and then he gets crushed in the game. Like, win a game. Be a competitive team. Do what you need to do to get the butts back in the seats. Give me a reason to spend the money to take my whole family to come see the team, because I would love to. I love the story you just told, because I got a little man of myself who I've been raising from the cradle and all Redskins, everything, and he fell asleep at the start of the Bears game. He had school the next day, and I was kind of glad he did, because he didn't get to witness that embarrassing beatdown. And I feel like if I can shield him from stuff like that, then he'll still remain a Redskin fan. But eventually he's going to watch us on primetime, and I don't know what I'm going to do. He still likes Kirk Cousins very much so I can see him switching to the Vikings. So, Bruce Allen, do me a favor. Make sure my son stays a Redskin fan by improving this team, please.
Yeah, man. He might have woke up at halftime and took his jersey off, bro. But let's keep it all pushing. Well, you know what? Let me add this in. I gotta add in my dud, man, because last week, Rome, going into the game, we had our players to watch. I highlighted the right side of the Redskins offensive line. If you go in and look at Khalil Mack's numbers, you'll see that the right side of the offensive line did not perform as they needed to. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand. Khalil Mack is elite. He is quite possibly the best defensive player in the entire league. Maybe 1B behind Aaron Donald, depending on how you rank him. So I do get that part, and I'm not saying that the task wasn't tough, but Brandon Sheriff, from all reports, just got offered $13 million. Did you see the hesitation move that Danny Trevathan put on him when the ball was snapped?
Did I see it? They won't stop replaying it.
Bro, because, it was, don't get me wrong, it was a good move. It was a cool move. But all the dude did was stand still and look the other way. He didn't even move his feet. He did not move his feet. Like, Brandon Sheriff is our $13 million guard, and he gets fooled from a Bama that doesn't even move his feet to make the move. And it's just like, man, like, this right side of the offensive line is going to be one of our biggest investments as a team. They're taking up a decent percentage of the salary cap, especially if Brandon Sheriff ends up signing his deal. And that is just not acceptable, man. That side needs to be our strong side right now. And once again, the left side, Donald Penn, he had a couple, mishaps, but Donald Penn and Eric Flowers, you guys looking at like our strongest side. So thank you two for definitely surprising most of Redskins Nation, I'd say. So man, let's keep it pushing.
I've been impressed with Donald Penn. No, you're good.
Yeah.
I've been impressed with Donald Penn. But, yeah, all I'll say about the Brandon Sheriff thing is that move was so embarrassing and got replayed so many times on all the national TV shows. If he thought about asking for $14 million, that went out the window. So he better sign the offer that was given to him.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm going to predict that Brandon Sheriff signs that deal after that performance. All right, man, let's jump into the NFC East, man. The good thing is the Eagles lost, so they're 1-2. Giants won, but they're 1-2, and we're 0-3. Sure, the Cowboys are 3-0, but we're still, as crazy as it sounds, we're still not out of it by the numbers. So let's run through the NFC East. Philly's got Green Bay this Thursday night. Rome, who you taking in that game, bro?
I am taking Aaron and the Green Bay Packers. I think Philly is in trouble. I think they only beat us because of one Deshaun Jackson. He's been out the last 2 games, and their receivers are dropping balls left and right. I think Alshon's going to play, but I don't think he's going to make as big of an impact as Deshaun would. And if it gets into a shootout, man, I know the Packers' offense has been struggling, but this will be the game that they break out.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with you on that, man. Definitely going to take the Packers in that game, especially the way the Packers' defense has been playing. It's been impressive. Preston Smith will probably have another 3 sacks just because. Yeah. But I'm gonna go with the Pack in that game as well. So let's keep it pushing. Dak Prescott, is he making a case at MVP? Not in my opinion, but what do you say, Ron?
Man, if you listen to national pundits talk, he's already the MVP. But I agree with you. He hasn't done quite enough to be MVP just yet. He needs to beat some better quality teams. I say he's at least in the conversation. I don't think you can completely discredit him, but to say that he's leading the MVP race means you haven't watched Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, definitely. And you're not. You should not be vaulted to the top of the MVP race after beating the Skins and the Dolphins. Like, that just shouldn't happen. Daniel Jones, man. Dwayne Haskins won't get his chance to have his revenge game against the Giants, but Daniel Jones will get his revenge in a sense against the Redskins. What did you think about his debut, man? It seems like that preseason swag he was showing is kind of carried through the regular season, man. What you think about Daniel Jones' debut?
Well, I have a lot to say about Daniel Jones. I'm gonna save most of it for the next pod since we're playing the Giants. I'll probably break down a little bit of Daniel Jones' game, but I was impressed by his play. But this is the thing. I never thought Daniel Jones was going to be a bust. I just didn't think he was worthy of the 6th overall pick. I always believed he could play. But I think as far as it pertains to his debut, people are overhyping it a little bit. I mean, he did have 2 fumbles that no one wants to talk about. The Buccaneers kind of lost that game more so than the Giants won it. But I'm also not going to take away from what Jones did because he did make big plays and big moments. So kudos to Daniel Jones.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I think a missed field goal was really the difference in that game. And Bruce Arians, being the genius that he is, backed his team up for the field goal. He accepted a penalty to back his own team up to attempt a field goal. So just a boneheaded move by the head coach. And I guess, all in all, his team deserved that loss. So shout out to Daniel Jones for getting the W and for proving people wrong because although he is on a rival team, I'm always down for a good prove you wrong story. So, man, that's it for the NFC East roundup. Let's keep it pushing, man. And to my favorite segment of these pods, the Keeping It Real section, where we really break down how the fans are thinking and some of the biggest media stories surrounding the team. So, first off, man, if you've been watching the games, I mean, not just this season, but over the past couple seasons, you've noticed the trend. You've noticed Redskins fans, the burgundy and the gold in the crowd is slowly diminishing. Less and less of diehard fans are paying their hard-earned money to go to the game and represent the team. My first question, Rome, is: are the fans justified in not showing support for the team?
I'm gonna have to go with yes. Washington hasn't been a consistent winner. If you think about the last time we won the NFC East, we were 9-7. The rest of the division was kind of bad. It wasn't like we were very impressive that year. I mean, we weren't bad, but we weren't, like what's there to like really talk about from that season. So, and then after that, it's just been 7-9, 8-8. So it's just been mediocrity, and there's no real star players on this team. So yeah, the fans are definitely justified for not wanting to show up to games because star players and winning games are what put butts in seats.
All right, well, I've got to play devil's advocate here for a second, man. The Browns were they were pretty much worse than the Redskins over the same time period, and their fans kept showing up. What do you think is the difference between fans? Because I'm not disagreeing with you. I just got to play devil's advocate for a second. What do you think is the difference between DC fans here and fans of teams like the Browns who kept showing up regardless of how bad their team was?
I think the biggest difference is the drama that surrounds the Redskins. Even when we're going good or things are going somewhat well, there's some kind of drama. So I just alluded to the last time we won a division, Kirk Cousins was the quarterback. The reason people don't look back and say, oh, yeah, the Redskins won the division that year, because what happened once we lost in that game in the playoffs? Everyone started talking about Kirk Cousins' contract. There's all kinds of drama always with the Redskins. Before the Kirk Cousins contract drama, the big drama headline was RG3 and his beef with the Shanahans, and then it was Jay Gruden coming in. Can he get RG3 right? Once that was finally gone, and it was, can they keep Kirk Cousins? Are they going to sign him to a long-term deal? Every season there seems to be some type of drama. Even this season, heading into it, you think, okay, like we just drafted Dwayne Haskins, everything seems to be going smooth, and boom, Trent Williams hold out. So there's always some kind of negative drama surrounding this team, whether they're winning or losing, and I think that's a huge problem too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, man. I think the drama is a big part. I mean, it's always something with the Skins, and they're always in the headline for negativity. I mean, you can talk about Scott McCloughan. You can talk. I mean, you can talk about the Kirk Cousins contract, even the Trent Williams drama. Like you said, man, it seems like it's always something for the Skins to be in the media about, in the news headlines about, and it's rarely a positive thing. So that brings me to my next question, Rome. What can be done to restore trust and faith in the organization? What steps can be taken? Actually, you know what? Just give me one. I want one thing that you think if they did right now could immediately restore some faith and some trust in the organization.
Fire Bruce Allen.
Man, I cannot agree more, man.
That's it.
Every
words. Redskin fan I've talked to has said they want Allen gone. And, I mean, right or wrong, even if you don't fire him, we've mentioned this before, he seems more like the guy for the business side of this team and not the guy that needs to be making football moves, trades, and all those kind of things. So, I mean, even if you don't fire him, you gotta bring someone else in that can actually make the right decisions, and you got to let him do it. So who knows, man? It's tough because the real thing is Snyder, and that's not going to go nowhere. So, I mean, hey.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. And like you said, man, Snyder, if we could get rid of him, of course we would, but there's no getting rid of the guy that owns the team. And at this point, I think Snyder is not even for example, some of these owners, well, maybe not Jerry Jones, but if you look at like a guy like the Falcons owner Blank, or you look at Robert Kraft, some of these guys have tons and tons of business ventures outside of football. But after Dan Snyder sold his company, all this dude really has is the football team. This is his main source of income. This is all he really has. So he's looking at the bottom line. He doesn't really – I don't know if he cares as much about winning as we as fans do. Now, Bruce Allen, on the other hand, is literally just I mean, I don't, you know what, let me stop right there because I don't want to say any names. We won't call any names I shouldn't be calling people. But Bruce Allen has got to go. I think that picture of him in the press box during the game, man, when he just had that smug look on his face that just looked like, I don't know, man. That face that Bruce Allen made during that game just bothered me. I don't know what it was about it, but it bothered me, man. And I just think you hit the nail right on the head, man. Once Bruce Allen goes, I think faith will immediately be restored to the organization, similar to how it was with the Washington Wizards when they finally got rid of Ernie Grunfeld. So I couldn't agree more with you on that one, man. So let's keep it pushing. Obviously, right now, the team is 0-3, and only 6 teams since like the late 70s have made the playoffs since going 0-3. So the chances are very, very slim. But a turnaround. Let's talk turnaround just for a second, Roma. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I know the chances are slim or slimmer than ever. But what would a turnaround mean, man? Like, say the Redskins do turn around from 0-3. Like, would you be down to keep Jay around if, like, somehow we weaseled our way into the playoffs, or even if we end up with a winning record? Like, would that be justification to keep Jay around?
If Jay can get it turned around, I'd be fine with keeping Jay Gruden. He's a very likable coach. I think when it comes to coaching offense, he definitely knows what he's talking about. My only knock on Jay has been that he's a little bit too friendly, a little bit too much of a player's coach, which is why I don't think he's going to get turned around. It's hard to turn it around when you're a little bit too playful. You know, like turning it around right now is going to take a certain level of seriousness. And I'm not saying that Jay isn't serious about his job or not dedicated. I very much so think he takes it serious. I just don't see the disciplinarian in him to correct a 0-3 team. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. But if he does turn it around, I'd be fine with keeping Jay around because I think he's done a decent job. You can point back to some of the other seasons and point at injuries as to why we weren't that good. But if he can turn this around, man, I'd be fine with him staying.
Okay. So, you know, I got to ask this question too. I mean, from 0-3, let's say we make the playoffs. And let's say like this. Let's say we have a little bit of a shakeup. Maybe we gain a new player. We make a trade. We get rid of Trent Williams. We bring some draft picks in. Something happens during the season. And we end up making this turnaround, making the playoffs. What about Bruce? Would you keep him around, or is Bruce gone regardless?
It's tough because I feel like Bruce and Dan are like best friends, and I don't really think Dan's going to be moving Bruce anywhere anytime soon, regardless of what he does. I did like the trade for Alex Smith, which Bruce Allen was behind. If he can pull off a good trade for Trent Williams, No, I can't. Even if Bruce pulls off another trade, I just don't think that he's the football guy that should be making the football decisions. Like, I'd rather have a traditional GM come in and let Bruce do the team president thing. But I don't see that happening. So if he were to make a good trade for Trent, then I guess that would give Bruce at least a little bit more time.
Yeah, man. Bruce, man, this guy, he definitely read the 48 Laws of Power, because somehow this guy has managed to keep his power while everyone else around him has constantly left, disappeared, and been fired. One thing I remember, man, in this Bruce talk just brought this to my mind. Before the game, Booger McFarland during his pregame wrap up, it came out of his mouth and said that Bruce Allen has done a good job of running the Redskins, and that they have a solid team that Jay Gruden is just not making the most out of. And it was at that point I realized Booger McFarland is on Bruce Allen's payroll, because there's just no way that anybody watching Bruce Allen move over the last 10 seasons, that the losing record, the 38% winning percentage he's had over the last 10 seasons, there's no way that anybody could say that this guy's done a good job. But I think nationally that people don't realize, like nationally I think people look at just Jay Gruden and fire Jay Gruden. I don't think that the national outlook on the team is looking as down upon Bruce Allen as we are as fans. But I think as fans we know that Bruce Allen's got to go, man, and he's probably the number one thing holding not just the Redskins back, but holding us back from like creating a new culture that, the young guys like Payne, Allen, like they can build around, Now, one more thing I got to throw out there is Jonathan Allen, man, he's the definition of a captain. Rome, did you catch his post-game interview?
Oh, most definitely, man.
So, what do you think? What do you think about it, man? About some of the things he said, the attitude he had, and it seemed like that type of attitude is something that guys should be able to rally around.
Yeah, man. I hope that goes throughout the whole locker room. I hope they pay close attention to John Allen and the way that he plays. He is the type of player that can help create that culture, and he's developing into a real leader. I like John Allen a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man, absolutely. So shout out to John Allen. It's going to take him and, some of the other young players on the team who are just not used to losing. Like Terry McLaurin even said he hadn't lost 2 games in a row since his entire life. He hadn't lost 2 games in a row. So it's going to take more and more of those type of guys to really turn around the culture, because at this point, we've clearly got a front office and a coaching staff that has fallen short of building that winning culture that you need to succeed. Rome, you got any final thoughts for the audience, man?
Man, just stay tuned. We're going to break down this Giants game in the next couple days. Keep listening to the pod and download the Gas Sports app.
Yeah, no, most definitely. If you haven't got the Gas Sports app yet, you are loafing. Go to your app store, search Gas Network, download the app. Not only can you read articles from me, Rome, and the rest of the Gas contributors, but we'll also have live streams and live events coming to you guys starting next month. So it's going to be lit. Definitely keep checking us out. Keep posted with the Gas Sports for the Culture movement. And as always, hail to the Redskins and hail to the culture.
Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so weak. My hitters be moving and shaking to stay out the street. Your hitters be hating, your hitters be looking so. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the money mover. Snuff the hater, snuff the player, snuff your hairline, tape up and shape up. Snuff the shooter, snuff the looter, snuff the booster, snuff the